you trying to coddle him for? Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his act.
We have rarely seen such a brutal and shocking turn in a celebrity story, not even in the Harris family's long, messy history of public drama. Tonight, the entire world is on edge, waiting for updates about King Harris, who is currently lying in intensive care, battered, bloodied, and fighting for his life after what insiders are calling a savage prison attack. The details leaking out from behind those Georgia prison walls sound like something straight out of a gangland thriller. According to reports, King was left clinging to consciousness after being jumped in his block. Guards scrambled to pull him away while chaos erupted all around them, forcing an emergency lockdown. Sources say he was rushed under armed guard to the prison infirmary, his face bruised and swollen, his body barely moving. Staff had to fight to restore order as a full-blown melee broke out, leaving multiple inmates injured. And for anyone assuming this was just a random fight or some routine initiation gone wrong, think again. The whispers say this wasn't spontaneous. This was a targeted hit. Inmates allegedly turned on King in what some are already describing as a vicious, calculated ambush. Some believe it was payback for his constant flaunting of wealth and privilege, while others think it was a warning shot, a chilling reminder that behind bars, fame means nothing, and weakness makes you prey.
Yeah, so him being arrested isn't really like the shocker, it's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12, so, you know, it just, he...
As the news spread, the internet exploded. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok lit up with reactions. Some users expressed genuine shock and sympathy, but others mocked him, saying King had finally met the real world and couldn't handle it. The Harris family, meanwhile, is said to be in full panic mode, scrambling for answers as whispers grow that this may not be the last time King is targeted. Social feeds lit up like wildfire, flooded with live commentary, wild speculation, and, inevitably, a storm of conspiracy theories. The first wave of unconfirmed rumors pointed straight at ongoing conflicts with other inmates. One source close to the Harris circle whispered that King had been marked for humiliation weeks ago, targeted not by chance, but by design. Another insider tied to prison staff insisted King was already a pariah inside those walls, resented for both his family's fame and his own loud attempts to stand on business like he ran the yard. Inmates who spoke anonymously claimed they'd warned him to watch his back, saying he was too loud, too proud, and way too soft for that world. Suddenly, the threats weren't just empty talk anymore. They turned into brutal action. The Harris family's response? Full-blown emergency mode. We're hearing T.I. hasn't slept since the attack. He's been making desperate calls to attorneys, politicians, and anyone who might hold even the slightest influence over the Georgia Department of Corrections. One Atlanta source claims Tip has already offered to write any check, make any promise, even sign NDAs if it means getting King out alive before it's too late. It's almost surreal to imagine the self-anointed King of the South brought to his knees, but that's exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Tiny has reportedly locked herself in a separate war room, coordinating publicists, lawyers, and media allies. And in private, the couple's famous unity is starting to crack. Sources say the arguments between T.I. and Tiny have become explosive, with each blaming the other for how their son ended up in this nightmare. Friends close to the family aren't even sure anymore whether T.I. and Tiny are fighting to save King or just fighting each other, all while their son's life hangs in the balance. The household that once branded itself as unshakable is now unraveling under the weight of crisis.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. And it does come with some, you know, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your business.
Yeah. But here's where things get even murkier. Whispers are spreading fast that this attack wasn't about some petty disrespect or random beef. Rumor has it there was a failed contraband deal inside the facility, and King may have either refused to play ball or, worse, tried to finesse the wrong crew. In a place where loyalty is currency, that kind of move can get you marked. So what really happened? Was this just a heated disagreement that spiraled out of control, or was King Harris deliberately targeted by inmates who felt betrayed? Sources tied to the investigation claim there's evidence he was set up. According to them, King was lured to a specific corner of the prison where at least 3 men jumped him, all while surveillance cameras mysteriously went dark. The Department of Corrections denies any glitch, but insiders aren't buying it. As one of T.I.'s former road managers put it, "It's Georgia. Cameras break when they need to break. That's all you need to know." Meanwhile, King's condition is still unstable, and family tensions are boiling over publicly. We've seen the Harris clan close ranks before, but never like this. Fans haven't forgotten the explosive headlock moment at that Falcons game when T.I. put King in a chokehold live on Instagram after yet another bitter argument about his upbringing. "You are embarrassing yourself and your family," Tip told him, as security scrambled and Tiny tried to calm things down. At the time, many thought that was King's rock bottom, but this prison ambush makes it clear things can go even lower. Now, with King lying on a hospital bed and the Harris family's dirty laundry blowing across the internet like wildfire, it's becoming clear that infamous Falcons game fight was just the dress rehearsal for something far uglier. The stakes are no longer about family pride, they're about survival.
I graduated. That's the only good thing they posted of me going viral. I'm not on the media's good side. I don't know why, but it ain't.
Inside prison walls, the climate for King was never safe. But lately, insiders say it turned downright toxic. Multiple sources reveal he was taunted constantly about his parents' infamous scandals, including the lingering cloud of those human trafficking allegations that continue to stalk T.I., Tiny, and by extension, King himself. It didn't help that King reportedly fueled the fire himself. He allegedly tried to flex for social media, even behind bars, calling out rivals and hyping his image as Atlanta's next big thing. But the older prisoners weren't impressed. "We're not here for the reality show," one ex-inmate told us bluntly. "We don't care who your daddy is. If you don't pay what you owe or you run your mouth, you get handled." That's the rule of law inside. And now King is paying the price. On the outside, T.I. is playing every card he's got left. Sources say he's threatened to go public with explosive complaints about conditions in the facility, while at the same time, his team is quietly shopping sympathetic stories to friendly media outlets. The goal? Shift the blame away from King and point it squarely at a corrupt system, a classic move straight out of the celebrity crisis playbook. But is it too late to save him? That's the question haunting everyone watching this unfold. And behind all the frantic damage control, one unavoidable thought lingers like smoke. What if this is exactly what happens when you raise a son to believe he's untouchable, only for reality to punch back harder than anyone expected?
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
Fueling the fire. Adding fuel to the fire are those whispers from 3 separate industry veterans claiming the Harris family's messy legal history may have made King an even bigger target behind bars. It's no secret that his name has popped up in connection with those ongoing trafficking allegations, accusations that first erupted years ago and refused to disappear. Accusers have hinted at a tangled web of bad behavior, one allegedly led by the Harris family itself. Sabrina Peterson, the ex-friend who ignited the storm, even went on record threatening to drop explosive receipts that would supposedly drag not only T.I. and Tiny, but King himself into deeper legal quicksand. The feds may not have pressed charges, but in the court of public opinion, that stain sticks forever. And while the Harris legal team is working overtime to silence one scandal, another rumor surfaces. We've seen the whispers about a secret deal gone sideways. King's name allegedly scribbled on a contraband ledger, a promise broken, and word spreading that he either snitched or reneged on a payment. Is it just prison gossip? Or the real deal? Insiders claim that inside those walls, the price for crossing the wrong person is always paid in blood. Stack on top of that King's privileged upbringing, his reality TV past, and the Harris family's long-running knack for attracting controversy, and it's no wonder he became a lightning rod for every grudge in the block.
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this, a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
Meanwhile, T.I. and Tiny's relationship is beginning to resemble a powder keg with a faulty fuse. Behind closed doors, sources say they're clashing hard over how to handle King's downward spiral. Tiny is reportedly pushing for a softer, more protective approach, blaming the system and outside influences. But T.I.? He's said to be getting more combative by the day, insisting their son needs discipline, not excuses. Convinced that only force and high-powered connections can save their son, T.I. has gone into overdrive. But one source close to the couple says this is the single worst crisis they've ever faced together. Worse than the reality TV cancellation, worse than the messy LA lawsuits, and even worse than the public humiliation of that viral Falcons game headlock. This isn't just another headline. It's their family legacy on the line. The emotional toll is staggering, with both sides lashing out while the rest of the Harris clan is caught directly in the blast zone. Zooming out, the stakes couldn't be higher. King, once the pampered wildcard of the Harris dynasty, now stares down a brutal new reality. With every fresh headline and every panicked call from his father, the question grows louder. Will this end with a redemption arc? Or are we watching the total unmaking of one of hip-hop's most famous families? And digging deeper, all signs point to the same chilling possibility. The most shocking details of this ambush and what really happens to a famous name inside the concrete jungle still haven't even come out yet.
And you can, you know what I'm saying, kind of woo-saw yourself outside of the public opinion.
We're watching almost in slow motion as the harsh realities of incarceration rip apart the carefully crafted facade of celebrity privilege. All the money, all the connections, even a powerful last name. None of it buys safety behind those walls. Prison operates on a different code, and King Harris, just like so many before him, is learning the rules the hard way. Those rules are written in blood, enforced without mercy, and they've always been clear. Respect is earned through loyalty, not bought with autographs or fame. In a place where yesterday's chart position means nothing, survival is the only headline that counts. High-profile inmates are often more exposed, not less. And that truth is hitting King Harris harder than anyone imagined. In a place where survival depends on alliances, silence, and respect, the very thing that made him famous may have been his ultimate downfall. Was King's high-profile status the real weapon used against him? That's the chilling question haunting everyone as we try to piece together the aftermath of an ambush that's left the Harris dynasty shaken and staring at threats they never saw coming.
I really admire his dedication and commitment to the craft, because, you know, I kind of told him, you know, what was wrong about it. Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who would pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Man, damn. Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming. You know what I mean? Nah, I didn't.
Those closest to the situation stressed this wasn't just about King as a person. It was about what he represented the moment he stepped inside. He carried the Harris name, the reality TV baggage, the notoriety, and that infamous reputation as T.I.'s wildest son. To men already serving decades, that's a lightning rod for jealousy, resentment, and score settling. More than one correctional officer has admitted off the record that inmates like King often become bargaining chips in the power struggles between rival factions. He became a pawn in someone else's game, one source who previously served time in Georgia's system revealed. They see an outsider with headlines, and they want to send a message to him, to the other inmates, and to the world watching. Add in the whispers of a botched contraband deal and the constant swirl of his family's scandals, and it's clear King was swimming with sharks from day one. But this isn't just about fists and violence. Inside, psychological warfare is just as deadly. Every word, every stare, every rumor can be a warning, or the first step toward another ambush. Reports indicate King's privileged upbringing painted a target on his back before he ever set foot in a cell. Some inmates resented him for what they saw as an easy life: the private schools, the flashy music videos, the access to lawyers most could never dream of. Others felt insulted by his attempts to talk tough, play gangster, or stand on business, when deep down everyone knew he had spent more time in reality TV studios than on actual street corners. Lawyers are working overtime, scrambling to control the narrative behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the family itself is deeply divided on the next move. Some insiders say certain relatives are urging caution, worried that stirring up more noise will only put King in greater danger inside. Others insist that silence equals surrender, arguing that the Harris brand can't afford to look weak in the face of such a public crisis. Through it all, the rest of the Harris children are walking through a minefield, dragged into speculation about everything from messy paternity rumors to resurfaced family disputes. The line between private heartbreak and public scandal grows thinner by the hour. Each new leak, whether whispered by a prison guard or pushed out by a supposed friend of the family, only adds gasoline to the fire. And as the dots start connecting, the wider implications can't be ignored. King's near-fatal experience exposes the cold truth. The justice system doesn't bend for celebrity. It chews you up and spits you out, famous or not, if you can't adapt to its brutal politics. No amount of family money, media spin, or hip-hop royalty status can change the fact that inside those walls, the only real currency is raw power. What began as a scuffle over respect has spiraled into a battle for survival, not just for King Harris, but for the entire Harris legacy. And while T.I. pulls strings behind the scenes, desperate to outmaneuver a system that's claimed so many lives already, the chain reaction from this prison ambush may only just be beginning. King is clinging to life, and with every headline, the sense grows that this isn't just one attack. It's the opening chapter of a much darker saga. So one question remains. Is King Harris a casualty of his family's fame? Or is there something far deeper driving this chaos? Could this prison assault unlock secrets and rivalries so explosive that no amount of damage control can contain them? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, because when it comes to the Harris family, the drama is never far behind. Stay sharp, stay curious, and until next time, keep your eyes wide open. You never know whose story is about to take its next wild turn.